Hello, you're watching Encore. Today, he's the Grammy Award-winning voice of Senegal, an internationally acclaimed musician whose career spans almost 4 decades.
It's not a second, we're 7 seconds away, or just as long as I stay, I'll be waiting.
Youssou N'Dour has been the face of humanitarian causes, he's held political posts, and all the while has continued to make the music that brought West African rhythms to the world. He's with us to talk about his latest album as he takes to the stage of the newly reopened Bataclan concert hall here in Paris. Youssou N'Dour, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Now, as well as your political work, your humanitarian activity, you found the time to record a new album, Africa Rekk. It's been released in Senegal already, and now it's out here. We can hear some of your signature style, mbalax, and also modern touches. And you said it's a Pan-African record. What does Pan-Africanism mean to you?
Firstly, this album is dedicated to the young Africans. Everything starts in Africa and back in Africa. And I feel this last 20 years I do a lot of things with Anglo-Saxon music. And I feel really time to be in Africa, across Africa, with my experience across Africa with my music, my experience, and touch young Africans, talk to them about, what's happened today, make them more, confident about the future. And inspiration, music is my passion. The other thing is the other things I can do to make progress.
Well, let's take a listen to a track from Africa Rekk. This is Be Careful.
If you meet a man you don't know, be careful, baby. That tomorrow you don't know. Be careful, baby. That tomorrow you don't know.
Now, that song is a bit of a warning to women, if I've understood well, about certain kinds of men. What are you saying about the conditions for women in society?
I think women is everything, and this time when you see Africa, a lot of things moving forward. More than 60% of the population have under the 25 years. And materials is very important, but they have to think about love, humanity. And this song talk about, be careful, because materials is very important, but the humanity is more important, love is more important, and be careful because of a lot of things can happen because of materials. About this song.
Now, you've collaborated with a variety of different musicians on this record, some of them from a very much younger generation. What do they bring to the mix? What about these new sounds?
They do very well in the past years. They do very well from Nigeria to Congo, RDC. They do very well, create what I call urban African music. And my experience, with, music and meet them, I bring them something. I learn a lot of things from them. And this is really very important for, music to be right in the time.
It creates a very interesting mix. Now, one of the songs on Africa Rekk is called Exodus, and it talks about migrations. Recently, we've seen waves of people leaving the African continent, seeking lives elsewhere. What do you think of the response to the migrant crisis internationally?
I think it's a responsibility of states in Africa. What I think is, tell the states, people who have the responsibility to govern Africa, they have to work very hard to make people more in the position they think believe in Africa. There's a lot of riches there. They have to work very hard to get employed for young people. I think this is the first solution. The second solution is we have to really have, contact with the rest of the world. They have to help to push Africa to have more resource, more possibility to create employed. If they have employed, it's better to stay in Africa.
Now, you've collaborated with a variety of musicians throughout your career, and we spoke to one of your collaborators, Cameroonian musician Manu Dibango, who talked about the choices you've made in your musical career. So let's hear from him.
He chose an industry that people like in his native Senegal and also abroad. And that's a good example for Africa, to see someone who's become successful by his own means. It's a good example for young Africans too. That's to be successful, you don't have to leave the country.
And as Manu Dibango says, you based your career...
I'm touched.
Indeed, you based your career in Senegal and your personal life. Was that a difficult choice for you at the time?
Was difficult in the beginning. Was very difficult because we didn't have at that time studio, doesn't have the infrastructure to do what we really want, and it was not really choice for me. It's a simple condition. I prefer to be close to my family, close to my environment, and make my music more original, and start these things and see. It's maybe possible to make international, career from Africa.
Singing indeed in Wolof as well. Now, looking back at your career, you're well known outside Senegal, and that's been the case for many decades, collaborating with people like Peter Gabriel, Paul Simon, and of course that internationally famous hit with Nina Cherry. Since then, how have you seen Senegalese music influence Western music and vice versa?
I think Senegalese music is based on the tradition. It's very, very traditional, very original. And people from Senegal can be more than Senegalese music. And we go to touch different sound, different area, and then we understood something new. And we create what we call today world music with Peter Gabriel, Sting, Paul Simon, etc. And Senegal is a maybe little country, but have a lot of possibility. People who can make internationally, view.
Now, you've appeared on some very prestigious stages around the world in your career, and your upcoming concert in Paris is going to be in a very symbolic place. That's the Bataclan concert hall, which is reopening after the fatal terrorist attacks that took place there last year. What is the significance of this concert for you?
For me, coming to the Bataclan is, celebrate really, do something really personally to the people who are dying this day on Bataclan, and to make them, sure we are with them. And I play in Bataclan many times, and I think Bataclan is a place you can feel, how people like culture, how people like to be diverse, and the people who make these bad things, they think music is bad or something like that, and coming back there, support, all the people, support also the content, music, the art, and salute, the memory of all these people who died.
It's a strong show of solidarity there.
Yeah.
Now, you've been involved in politics in Senegal, serving as culture minister in the past. You're currently a presidential advisor. How do you think these two domains, politics and art, are compatible?
Politics is, how you try to get really help to participate with is for everybody. And in 2011 was really difficult in Senegal. People were trying to change the constitution, and most of the people in Senegal was not really happy with that. And I support the majority of people. And then they canceled my candidature. You know, I was really candidate, and after that I support
the presidential election.
Presidential election. I support Macky Sall. He win, and he tell me to come to work with him. You know, I work with him, and things is better. You know, in Senegal, and really, I can with my experience, I can help my country. I can bring my experience to help my country to move forward.
So given your big popularity in Senegal, artistically and politically, will you be running for elected office in the future?
The next election, I support the president, the actual president, Macky Sall.
Youssou N'Dour, thank you so much for being with us today. We're going to end with a little more music from Africa Rekk. It's Serin Fallu. The album, of course, is available now. Remember, you can get more arts and culture on our website, and do keep up with Encore on our social media channels. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Baye Cheikh Oumy Baye Abdoulaye Fallou jar na ko